Hang on, let me calm down. Right.
This is Umar for BoxNation. We're still in Manchester. It's the day after an incredible win for Derek Chisora. It was remarkable the way he went about his business last night. It was your first event as well for Queensbury at the Carp Live, a magnificent arena. So you must be thrilled this morning, Frank.
Oh, it was. I mean, as you say, a magnificent arena, best arena in Europe, no doubt about that. And Derek, I mean, wow, what a fight that was. I mean, it was an unbelievable performance by him when you consider his age and so forth. It was just really, it was something special. It's a special night. I don't just mean for the fight. I mean for the fans, the occasion, the atmosphere, everything that went on in there was just brilliant surrounding it. And then the love that come from the fans towards him in there was just, it was a touching moment for him. There's no doubt about that. And, when I look back and think, despite all our ups and downs, he started off 18 years ago, in February 18 years ago, with me, and there he was, back here in Manchester, doing it again and doing it in style. I mean, it was just the grit and the determination and the resolve that he's got is amazing. I mean, I don't know how he does it. There's moments in that fight I thought, that's it now. He's punched himself out, he's wore himself out, and somehow he finds it within himself again to get going. And you got to take your hat off for him. As I keep on banging on about and saying, with him, he comes out the ring with nothing. He leaves every bit of endeavour, every bit of grit. He leaves it in that ring, and it was phenomenal for him, and I was really pleased for him in his 49th fight. And here's me sitting here saying this, having said a couple of years ago he should have retired.
Well, a lot of people did, to be fair.
Yeah. Mind you, after the 50th, he promised me last night that would be it, because he should retire. It's a tough game, especially these big guys, and he wants to get to the magical 50. That's going to happen now. That IBF elimination last night was very important for him. It's put him in a very good position. And so, he needs to sit. Well, we're going to sit down in the next week or so and have a real good think about where we go from here. There's no rush to make any decisions, but if he does do the 50th fight, that has got to be it.
Okay. You said you've had many ups and downs with him. His career has actually been like that as well.
Yeah.
He's always he's fought everyone, literally. Obviously, in the real big fights, he's come up short. Very close sometimes with the likes of Alexander Usyk, etc. But to end his career by beating Joyce at a full 0-2, then coming to Manchester beating Otto Wallin, I mean, it just requires the 50th, a perfect end and a big win.
Yeah, and I can think that's a milestone for anybody, isn't it? Certainly in the toughest of all sports, and it would be great for him. But it's I can't get over last night is the actual, because it's the fans who decide. We all say who's going to be in the Hall of Fame, who's what's a great fight, what's not, what people should be buying tickets for. But at the end of the day, it's the fans who actually determine who's a legend, who's their favourite, who they like. And the warmth in there for him was overwhelming. And he's one of our sporting icons. He's never give up. As you say, was it 13 losses on his record? 13 losses. But, you look at the level that he fought at, and a couple of those are dodgy decisions, by the way, that he lost. Certainly the Helenius one was for the European title. And the fight he had with Klitschko, which was Klitschko's toughest fight that he had for 10 years, since the fight he had with Lennox Lewis. That was a real tough fight, and he was there right at the end. In fact, won the last round of that fight, was still there punching away like he was last night. The spirit and the endeavour is magnificent, and I'm pleased that for the ovation he got and the accolades he's getting now for what he's done in his career.
Absolutely. The Usyk fight as well. A lot of people had that, a draw. A lot of people scored it as a draw.
It was a close fight, wasn't it? It was a close fight, and he did give him a tough fight. There's no doubt about that.
On last night, one of the judges had it 114, 112, Frank.
I didn't get that. That means if there's not two knockdowns, it's a draw. I didn't get it. I don't get that at all. Not at all. I don't know. sometimes you scratch your head, but look, it is what it is with this. Sometimes with these fights, and thankfully he did knock him down twice, because that would have been a travesty to have been a draw.
There always does seem to be one judge who has it completely different.
I don't know what's going on. It's happened a few times now, is it? I mean, there's a lot of fights that go on, and obviously we pick up on what we feel is a bad decision, or people feel there's a bad decision, and I'm guilty of that on numerous occasions. But I don't know. It's sometimes you just wonder what they're looking at.
Yeah, of course.
Excuse me.
He was very emotional coming into the arena. Actually, he was in tears, and that was it's a bit worrying. You don't want to be in tears a couple of hours before a fight, but I think that was just pure, genuine emotion, and he couldn't hold it back.
Yeah, no, there was. I mean, there was a lot of emotion with him. It was an emotional situation, as I said, all night for everyone involved in it. But it was better than what he did when he fought David Haye before he came to the arena. When he started off into a restaurant and went out a meal, we couldn't find him. He wasn't at the venue until 40 minutes before the fight started. But that's Derek.
Unique person, isn't he?
Well, he's a unique pain in the arse sometimes. I mean, that was madness. I mean, that's no way to prepare for a big fight. But he is what he is, and so last night he loves the game, doesn't he? He lives and breathes boxing. He enjoys it, and he's sort of found his place now in British boxing. That's what he's got. He's done, and that's been done through pure endeavour.
Frank, I know someone who was very important to him, close to him. It was the late great Dean Powell, very influential with him early on in his career. Oh. It's not Derek, is it?
No, gone.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be looking from above proudly on Derek about last night.
Yeah, Dean was my matchmaker for a long time before he unfortunately took his own life, and he was quite close to Derek, as we all were. I mean, Derek turned pro with us. As I say, 18 years ago. It's a long time ago when you look back at that, but It's funny last night, it does bring back those sort of memories. And also with Spencer's uncle, Johnny Oliver, who was his amateur trainer. Yeah, he signed him. He was quite emotional last night. It's he's obviously in his way. He's touched a lot of people's, I suppose, their lives in boxing, in a good way. And times I've sort of had, me and him have had good times and bad times. There's times he's been frustrating. Maybe he's been frustrated with me. I don't know, but it's good to see that the love generated for him last night.
Yeah, for sure. It was a great atmosphere last night. He asked the fans actually, "Who do you want to see next?" And he held up 3 signs. One of them said Usyk. One of them said Joshua, and one of them said Dubois.
Yeah, they did, and. That's Derek again. But the fact of the matter is, winning that IBF eliminator, one is there to be done. That's a fact of life. Provided, and it's a big. Hopefully, it will happen. Provided that Daniel comes through the fight against Joe Parker, which is a tough fight. But whoever it is, the winner. He'd have to fight.
Right, I know. Look, Derek's coming off arguably his 2 best wins, and he's proved people wrong. By lots of people in boxing saying he should have retired a few years ago. So he's proved people wrong on that front. With the Daniel Dubois fight, if that is the one that does happen, I know all heavyweights are dangerous, but Daniel's arguably the most ferocious puncher in the division.
Yeah,
is that a safe fight to make?
Is it a safe fight? I don't think it's a safe fight for anyone fighting Daniel. He's a big puncher. He's got to come through, as I said just now, his own fight. All these guys are big punchers. For either of them, if you're going out on for your 50th fight, what'd you go out on? You fought in the final eliminator, you fought in the eliminator for the IBF title. That's a fact of life. This. Who if he's going to have a 50th fight, what is it going to be? Who is it going to be? What does he want? Because at the end of the day, it's going to be his choice. He's the one getting in the ring. He's the one at his age fighting in the toughest of all sports. What does he want for his 50th fight? That's something we'll have to discuss.
Okay, and location-wise, there was a lot of talk about Africa. He said
It
politically.
won't happen in Africa.
Won't happen in Africa.
No, I mean, look, first of all, anybody read the newspapers, Congo's got a big problem going on at the moment in the Congo. They've got a war going on internally. So, that ain't going to happen. And some of the other countries, it'd be great to do it, but, the money's not there for it at this stage to happen. It's just not there. So where would it be? The two most meaningful places for him to fight are either in UK or in Riyadh in a big fight. There's not really any American heavyweights of note, are there, that he could fight? Maybe Babe Miller, but that would be a bigger fight over here or in the Riyadh than it would be in America.
Can I give you a name, maybe for Chisora from America? Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, another one. Yeah, just another one. That's another good call. There are lots of options for him, but whatever it is, it's got to be something that he's comfortable with, and and he's going to have he's going to have everyone behind. Whoever's fighting him is going to have the crowd against him. That's for sure.
Yeah, that is true. You know what? I've just remembered. I mentioned the 114, 112 from the judge. talkSPORT had Derek up by 1.
By 1? Where did you score it?
I gave Otto 2, maybe 3 rounds.
I've got to be honest, I thought Derek won it by a good, I thought 4 or 5 rounds minimum. I really did, especially with the knockdowns. And I get that.
Yeah, but everyone I spoke to ringside had it like that.
It's
clear for Derek.
Same as where we were. I mean, even all the guys all the fighters who were on the front rowers, all had him well winning it.
Talking about the front row, what a magnificent couple of rows there were.
Yeah.
Duran turned up, obviously Tyson turned up, and then your host of talent were there. Lawrence Coley, Joe Joyce, Dillian White was there. There was a lot of names and talent there last night.
Yeah, you left off Anthony.
What's that? Anthony, yeah? Well, let's come on to that, actually.
Yeah. I mean, they were all there. Andrew was there. I mean, Andrew Kane. There was, lots of the guys were there.
Let's actually speak about. I know I did that piece with you and Anthony last night. Just tell us as much as you can what's gone on there to resolve this.
Well, we've been talking for a few weeks now, and we, had a few meetings, and everything's all on track. And that's where we're at. I've always said, I've always said, Anthony, as far as I'm concerned, I've really, from day one, really, really liked him as a person, as a fighter, and I was always sad how it all turned out, but it's all turned out for the good now, so we move forward.
Was it miscommunication?
It's irrelevant now what it was. It's irrelevant because all you're doing is talking about something that's past and gone, and we're in a better place, and that's where I want to keep it. Okay.
That was good to see because you and Anthony's was a great relationship until this point. The world title fights he delivered in with Kovalev and Beterbiev, and he did himself proud in both fights.
He certainly did. Yeah, he certainly did. Another warrior.
Frank, if he gets through Lyndon Arthur, which is a tough fight, it's 1-1 in that contest. We've got Callum Smith and Joshua Boatsi in a couple of weeks in Riyadh, which is a brilliant fight. Naturally, you think the winner fights the winner.
It's a natural matchup, isn't it? There's no doubt about that. That's a natural matchup. We'll see how they pan out. I mean, neither of the fights are foregone conclusions.
Just to cap off on last night, Frank, I know I spoke to you last night briefly about it. Nathan Heaney, reflections on his loss.
He started off well in the fight. I mean, his composure was good. His jab was good. He was throwing some nice punches. He was moving well, moving his head. And the last couple of rounds, he got caught, and he just lost his composure. And eventually, you just had that feeling he was going to get caught. Then he sort of got himself back into it, momentarily. But then, he got caught again, and that was it. It's a great shame because he's one of boxing's good guys. Again, another well liked and respected fighter. Great fan base. His fans all stayed and cheered him even in the loss. It's a bit sad. I'd love to have delivered him a world title fight. That's what we were trying to do for him, and it nearly happened. But it wasn't his night last night, and obviously he's got to sit down and think about the future, what he's going to do.
Zach Parker was flat, wasn't he, if we're being honest?
Very flat, yeah. He was hampered by a bad cut, change of opponent, get all that, and certainly the cut was a bad cut. He made it worse himself because he kept pouring at it. You know, any fighter should know that if you got a cut, don't keep doing this. All you're doing, you're making it worse. You know, pulling on it with your glove and that. And he kept doing that. And I don't know. There's a couple of moments in the fight where when he put his shots together and he hurt him. I can't remember his name now, the opponent. He hurt him a few times. But, you know, it wasn't one of his better nights. But he's got the win, and he got to let that cut here and see what happens. But he needs to go into a big fight. And he was in a big fight up until Willie pulling out. Because that would have been Willie pulling out. That would have been a really good. That would have been a good. That would have been a good fight.
Frank, with Zach, look, at one point he was, you know, in line to fight Canelo. He was actually the favourite going into the fight with John Ryder. Since then, it doesn't look like the fighter he was, to be honest. In his
I hear that, and he needs, and it's there for him to do, and I, you know, he's had a bit of time out for various, not his fault. You know, he did have a couple of bad injuries. He had operation, didn't he, on his hand and that, and then there's a bit of delay getting this fight on, losing. I mean, there's lots of factors, but I mean, I really, really, really rated him. You know, in the early days, you know, when he was with us, I really felt he was going places, and he's got to try and now recapture that. As I say, he got the win, but it's how you win. You know, that's how you win a fight. So let's see what happens.
Okay, well, you're saying you want to try and get him back into the form that he once was. With Nathan, going back to that, I mean, where does he go after this loss?
Well, as I say, he's got to get his eye heel, and he needs to get in with it. I mean, there's no in betweens. It's just a straightforward fight with one of the top guys, and it's like, with the greatest respect, it's like a sink or swim job. You know, you win it, then you're in it. If you don't, then you've got to look and see what level you're going to fight at. I generally felt he would be world champion by now.
Masoud Abdullah and Zach Miller was a close fight.
I thought it was a very close fight, but it was a good fight to watch, wasn't it? Very competitive for the two of them. They put on a good show for the fans. Probably be a good rematch, that would be as well.
Okay.
And you got all the different fighters who we're working with at that weight. There's some good fights to be made there. I see he was there. Liam Davis said he wanted to fight the winner of the fight. So let's see what happens.
As I said, it was a fantastic atmosphere last night. At the Carp Light. It was a good gate, a lot of tickets sold. Fortunately, we had the Albanian heavyweight Nelson Issa, had to remove him from the card, opponent issues, etc. Not his fault or anything, but he sold 2,000 tickets. 2,000
tickets. I mean, that would have been a nice atmosphere as well, wouldn't it? With his, you know, when he got in the ring with his people. But we're getting back on again. But that was disappointing. I'm disappointed for him. It's a shame that, you know, opponent pulled out, found a replacement, and then I think there was problems getting into the country, whatever it was. You know, it happens now and again, and it's sod's law. It was him.
Working with the Co-op Live, just a great experience. First time out.
Working with
the Co-op Live.
Oh, they're brilliant. I mean, honestly, it's such a good venue. The people who run it, they're, you know, Gary and his team, they're just really good people to work with. It's amazing sightlines. I mean, when I came up to look at it before we booked it, walking around there, looking at the facilities and, you know, the views from all the different seats and that, it is without a doubt the best venue in Europe. No doubt about that.
Well, listen, Frank, it was a great night last night. We're still in Manchester because there's a big announcement tomorrow. Well, a lot of announcements at a press conference, and we'll see you there.
We certainly will.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.